Timmy versus the time-traveling Chens. Part 1. The problem with history. In the year 2412, history class was no longer about reading old books. Students plugged the neural links into the past earn it and watched history happen. But one kid, Timmy Bloop, noticed something weird. Every famous general, every heroic speech, every last stand charge had someone in the background who looked suspiciously like the same 5 people. One of them always wore sunglasses. Another had a handlebar mustache. And one, oddly enough, always carried a fanny pack labeled Snacks and Schemes. Timmy's suspicions were confirmed during a lesson on the Moon Wars of 2235 when General Plorb shouted, "Thanks again, Chen family," before launching a laser cannon. "Wait a minute," Timmy muttered. "That's not in the historical logs." He had uncovered a secret. The Chen family had a time machine and were inserting themselves into history to make their ancestors seem super important. And he, Timmy Bloop, a 9-year-old with a jelly stain on his hoodie, was the only one who could stop them. Part 2. Operation Mess Up the Timeline. A little bit, Timmy Bloop did what any responsible citizen would do when faced with a historical conspiracy. He told his mom. She gave him a juice box and said, "Sweetie, maybe don't accuse families of war crimes before dinner, okay?" So, clearly, this was a solo mission. He snuck into the school's janitor closet, which every kid knew doubled as the teacher nap chamber, and hacked the school's holo router to trace the timeline anomalies. His fingers trembled over the glowing touchpad. Coordinates pinged, Chen temporal launch point 553 Butterbean Avenue. The Chens were time-hopping from a shed behind their house. Timmy grabbed his hamster, Gerald, for moral support and set off on his hoverboard. He reached the address and peeked through the slats of the suspiciously high-tech shed. Inside, glowing gears, blinking buttons, and a karaoke machine duct taped to what looked like an espresso machine. Definitely a time machine. Timmy had no plan, no weapons, and no clue what he was doing, but he did have the element of surprise and an unused stink bomb from a birthday party. "Time to rewrite your place in history," he whispered, and crawled through the doggy door. Part 3. Chaos in the Chrono Shed. Inside the shed, Timmy crouched beside a glowing console labeled, "Destinations, the greatest hits of history." There were sticky notes everywhere. Napoleon's birthday, bring cake. Rome 64 AD, grab selfie with Colosseum. Laser haversack, remember this time. He pressed a big green button that read, "Chen Blasto Travel," because of course it did. Suddenly, the walls trembled. The machine hummed like 1,000 angry hair dryers. Gears spun, lights flickered, and just as Timmy was about to turn and run, the door slammed open. Standing there were 3 members of the Chen family, decked in battle armor, goggles, and historically questionable wigs. "You, the jelly-faced kid from class," shouted Aunt Mabel Chen, waving a laser parasol. "You activated our 5-minute launch protocol," yelled Uncle Ken Chen, tripping over Gerald the hamster. "Now we're all going to ancient Greece." "Oops," Timmy said. A flash of light, a swirling vortex, a scream from someone who definitely wasn't ready to wear a toga. And just like that, they were gone. All of them, Timmy, the Chens, and Gerald were now passengers on a one-way ride through time. Part 4. Toga Trouble. The swirling stopped, Timmy blinked, Gerald squeaked, and 5 very annoyed Chens looked around at the marble columns, toga-clad philosophers, and a group of Spartan warriors arguing over who forgot to bring the olives. They had landed in ancient Greece. Timmy's hoodie instantly made him the strangest dressed person there. He tried to blend in by wrapping Gerald in a leaf and calling him a rodent oracle. "This is all your fault," Uncle Ken snapped, brushing straw off his time travel loafers. "I just wanted to stop you from rigging history," Timmy protested. Aunt Mabel squinted at a sundial. "Well, we've got 12 minutes before this thing resets for re-entry. We could use the time to, I don't know, not mess with major events," Timmy suggested. But the Chens were already halfway up the Acropolis, preparing to photobomb the invention of democracy. Timmy sighed. "Okay, plan B." He grabbed a scroll, scribbled, "Free olive buffet, sponsored by the Chens," and tacked it to a statue. Within seconds, a crowd of hungry Greeks surrounded the Chens, mistaking them for festival organizers. Aunt Mabel was pelted with pitta. Uncle Ken got dragged into an impromptu debate on taxation. And as the chaos peaked, the time vortex reopened. Timmy grabbed Gerald, waved goodbye to a confused Socrates, and leapt into the light. Part 5. Temporal Takeout. Back in the shed, Timmy stumbled out of the vortex, leaves still stuck in his hoodie and Gerald dramatically nibbling on a grape he'd snatched mid-jump. The Chen family, however, didn't follow. He checked the console. Chen family, stuck in ancient Greece, ETA unknown. "Oops," Timmy muttered with a smirk. But just as he was about to celebrate, the console blinked a warning in angry red, temporal echo detected. Unauthorized Chen activity in the moon year 2420. Timmy sighed. Of course they have a backup plan. Within minutes, he was back in action, strapping on a gravity helmet, a half-eaten fruit bar in his hoodie pocket, and Gerald now donning a tiny foil cape made from leftover burrito wrapper. They launched into the stars aboard a suspiciously noisy lunar scooter, aimed straight for the moon colony of 2420. I swear, Timmy muttered, if they're trying to get Aunt Mabel elected Supreme Commander of the Moon again, I'm grounding them in the Bronze Age. Part 6. The Moon Shenanigans. The moon base was weird. Everything glowed, elevators floated sideways, and every vending machine sold quantum noodles that came with both chopsticks and a user manual. Timmy and Gerald snuck into the Moon Hall of Politics, disguised as a janitor and a cleaning hamster, respectively. At the podium stood Aunt Mabel Chen, now wearing a tiara that blinked, "Vote for me," in 16 languages. Behind her, Uncle Ken was programming holograms to rewrite moon history. On screen, Chen family wins all wars, invents ice cream, brings balance to universe. Oh no you don't, Timmy muttered. He uploaded his counter-campaign into the moon net, Chens, time cheaters are just bad at board games too. With exclusive footage of Aunt Mabel trying to arm wrestle Julius Caesar. The crowd gasped. A moon security robot said, "Scandal detected," and tried to arrest Gerald. Gerald bit it. "Time to scoot," Timmy yelled, grabbing a moon churro and vaulting onto a grab bike. As they rocketed away, the moon court shouted, "Get that child," while a confused Martian diplomat asked, "Is this how Earth democracy always works?" Part 7. End of the time loop line. Timmy and Gerald crash-landed back in their shed, the grab bike smoking and the "Chens for Supreme Moon Rulers" pamphlet stuck to Gerald's face. "Okay," Timmy panted. "That's definitely enough time travel for one childhood." He turned to the console. One final alert blinked. Chen family, temporarily banished to historical minigolf, circa 1987. A small, grainy video popped up on screen. Aunt Mabel was arguing with a Viking over putt-putt rules. Uncle Ken had a mullet. Justice was served. Timmy high-fived Gerald. The hamster blinked slowly, clearly exhausted. Then, with the push of a large red button labeled, "Unplug time," the machine powered down. The shed went silent. Birds chirped. A neighbor sneezed in the distance. Time, for once, was normal. Timmy sat back, hoodie dusty, Gerald curled in a leaf hammock, and smiled. Mission, mostly not a disaster, he declared. And somewhere in ancient Greece, the Chen sneezed in unison.